Why autism in females may go undiagnosed. It's still considered to be a male condition. So in order to do the research, they had to have people to do the research with, right? They're majority getting males, white males. And most of them were little boys. They didn't test a lot of girls with autism, and they didn't test women with autism,
I
adults. They
really
didn't.
wonder like how much of the differences are biological and how much of the differences are due to how we're socialized. I think it's probably both.
Girl, you said what?
Wait, are you saying that like you need me to repeat it or like what?
No, girl, what you say? That means like that was a read.
Oh,
That was a read.
okay, I
Like,
got you. Yeah.
hey, how y'all doing? Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time it is where y'all are at. Welcome to my podcast, Just Shay and Friends. Happy Juneteenth and happy Pride Month to my alphabet crew and allies, etc. Please hit that like and subscribe button if you like these videos, and hit that notification bell so you can get notified of every single video that I post. Without further ado, today's friend is my autistic sister from another mister, Lexa.
Hi,
That's
I'm
my
back.
friend Lex. Yes, Lex is back. She gonna keep coming back. And today's topic is one that's near and dear to both of us: late and undiagnosed autism in adult females. We adult
Ooh,
females. A little background about me and Lex. Both of us were diagnosed with autism late in life. I got diagnosed in 2022. Yeah, 2022. And that year, I was experiencing a lot of mental health issues, clearly burnout. Now that I think about it, clearly autistic burnout. Now that I think about it, I was having some
yeah.
issues, right? So I was having issues. So I eventually started seeking help from mental health professionals. And my therapist, she suggested that I get tested for autism spectrum panel, whatever it is, the panel of tests that they do. She suggested that I get those tests done. I'm having a hard time with this freaking rubber band today. All these
That's
S's,
so annoying.
all these S's, girl. So, like I was saying, my therapist suggested it that I get the testing, so I just went ahead and did it. That's it. So I got tested, and I mean, the rest is the rest. I'm autistic.
Yeah, so it was kind of similar. 2022, I was 28, and before that, I was struggling with my mental health a lot, struggled with addiction. I was previously diagnosed with generalized anxiety, social anxiety, depression, borderline personality disorder, and I was diagnosed with ADHD as a kid. Like years go by and I get sober, I start recovery, but like I'm not making progress in the way that I see other people making. I thought that like that would be where my problems would end and like life would go on, right? But no, it didn't. And so during the pandemic, I found myself on like the ADHD side of TikTok and Instagram because like while I was diagnosed as a kid, I was never medicated and I didn't know what it was, like really beyond it just being a learning disability that affects your focus. And so when I learned more about that, that actually led me to the autism side of it all. And then I was like, wait a second, this all fits. And so I started out, I did like those online assessments that you could do for yourself, like the RADS-R, which is a good starting point. I wrote out extensive notes, like detailing all of my traits from childhood to adulthood. And I went over it with my mom before I went to the doctor with all of those notes. Um, and so basically, like I finally went to the doctor, and yeah, and that's when that was confirmed for me. I was diagnosed with it, and I wasn't diagnosed with a level or anything. Like I don't have the resources to be able to go like further into that, like to get the specific level and everything. But
Mm. It's the social media thing for me. A lot of people say, yeah, they're starting to resonate with some of the stuff that I've been talking about as well.
mhm,
So we're gonna get into that later. But yeah, social media plays a big part in all of this. It's a great
yeah.
tool that I have been gladly utilizing to spread awareness. I'm glad you said
Yeah.
that.
A lot
I
of
went
people
over.
criticize the social media aspect because they're like, oh, everyone is just watching one video and then self-diagnosing. And that's like really not what's even happening for people. I doubt anyone just watches one video. Social media is giving a lot of visibility, which is good, and it's leading people to start the process. Who knows if I ever would have like started that process for myself. And I mean, it was seeming that like no doctor was ever going to be the one to bring it up for me. So social media helped me start that journey for myself and then, go seek professional help.
Girl, that part. The doctors weren't going to say it because they didn't see it. Some reasons that I think that I was diagnosed late, I think it goes back to childhood, first of all. Back then, my parents didn't know, neither did I. We didn't know anything about autism back then. It never came up until I had my son, Stacy, and then he got tested for autism. But he has very high support needs. So, and then he's also nonverbal. So it was clear that he needed, the testing. But I had no signs like that for my parents to say, oh, yeah, we need to do something, not visible signs that they could have seen. And then also, they didn't know anything about autism. Maybe if they had, they would have been like, but who living in the past like that? Not me. Then sad to say, I really did not think about my own mental health and like things that are going on with me until my kids got much older, like teenagers, almost adults. So that's why it was 2 years ago, because that's when I was starting to say, like, I need to take care of my mental health. Like I said, I was having burnouts and all kinds of stuff. Panic attacks, meltdowns, everything. I was having them all. Okay. They were all happening at once, all because of years and years and years of masking, and it was just coming crashing down on me. So that's the only time I thought maybe I need to go and check this out, go and talk to somebody. That's the only time I thought. So that's why I got diagnosed late. I wasn't taking care of myself. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't taking care of myself. I was taking care of my kids. And then it just never crossed my mind. How about you? Why you think you got diagnosed so late?
I think a few reasons. One, I would say, which is probably huge for a lot of people, I think my mom was undiagnosed too, and her mom. And so a lot of things that were normal in our house were not normal in other households, but like we had no other reference point. It was just my mom and my grandma raising me when I was younger. And so, that was their normal too. Obviously masking, but then when I reached adulthood, that got hard to keep up with, and that's when I got hit with the other diagnoses, like the anxiety, the depression, the borderline personality disorder, and then substances to be able to sustain the masking, to be able to push myself socially, and so I appeared normal. And then for me, one unique aspect I would say is that when I turned 18, I received an accident settlement from my accident when I was 16. So I received a large check, which allowed me to keep slipping through the cracks, I think, because like I was working and I was in school for a bit, but like I had a huge financial cushion. And so I was able to hit those independence milestones that I wouldn't have been able to, like, if I had to, work full time just to barely get by. So, like, I was able to move into my own apartment. I was able to pay for one-on-one driving lessons, get a car, things like that. And so I was struggling in a lot of ways. Like my house wasn't clean and stuff like that. But like on the surface, it looked like I was hitting those milestones. And it wasn't until all my money ran out, I fell too deep into the addiction. And then like I was in burnout. And then, like I said, I was in recovery, sober, but still something, like it just wasn't what I thought it would be. And that's when I realized like there has to be something else going on here.
Muted. But yeah, girl, you said that. You said something about I feel like you just started to take care of yourself at that age too. After your settlement, you said you moved into your apartment, and previous to that, who was taking care of you?
My parents.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And previous to that, you weren't born. So we both
Right.
only started taking care of ourselves at adulthood. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so it's not the same for us, a lot of us, men, women, whoever. Like when you
Yeah.
get into that little baby adult phase, that's when you just start taking care of yourself. UCLA Health, they think they also know why. autism in females may go undiagnosed. I'm going to put this article in the description for you guys to read, but I'm going to go ahead and read it to you. All right. Why autism in females may go undiagnosed. There's no medical test to identify autism. Like they can't just like take your blood and like it's not like that. There's no test that's going to say that's it. Okay. The health
Yeah.
professionals rely on the information that they get from the testing. They rely on that information and your developmental history. And then they give the diagnosis, then if it fits. And to diagnose autism, the physician must have evidence of impairments in social communication and interaction and restricted repetitive behaviors.
And another part is that, when diagnosing autism, they're checking to see if it can be better explained by something else first.
Facts, facts. The physician is looking for this stuff, but it's not always easy. It's not always easy to even identify this in females. And we're going to get into why. For number one, autism is traditionally considered a male condition. I don't know if that's still true today. Probably is. It's still considered to be a male condition. All the experts, it says this here in this article, okay? All the experts just assumed that autism occurred more in males than females, and that most autistic research relied on the male participants. That was in the video that you sent me, the male participants. Mm-hmm. So in order to do the research, they had to have people to do the research with, right? They're majority getting males, white males. Okay. That's, hey, it said in the black and white. Okay. I'm not making this up. They majority got white males to do this. And most of them were little boys, young. You know what I'm saying? They didn't test a lot of girls with autism, and they didn't test women with autism, adults. They didn't test them. As a result, the boys get diagnosed 10 times more than girls. So it's just not enough testing for one.
Something crazy about that? The other day I like posted a question thing to my story, and one of my followers, he is autistic and he lives in Russia. And he had mentioned how like their doctors don't believe Asperger's exists. And I misunderstood the question at first because I was like, yeah, they don't diagnose that here anymore either. They stopped in 2013. But what he actually meant was that in Russia, a lot of doctors don't believe that our type of autism exists. They only believe that like you have to have an intellectual disability, and that's the only form that exists, like profound autism, which is crazy that like there are doctors who think that like we are not autistic despite being diagnosed. I was like, what?
Yeah, that's interesting. So they only see if you have high support needs, then you're probably autistic. That's why. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I'm sure over there, a lot of females getting undiagnosed because their support needs are low. They're so low that they probably don't even know their support needs. That's what happened to me.
Yep.
Okay. Next thing, autism looks different in females, especially during childhood. Says they report more sensory symptoms and fewer communication difficulties. Do you see that in yourself?
I mean, I think that I have just as many social and communication difficulties, but they present differently.
So it all stems off of masking. The fact that you were just masking very well, that it didn't seem like you were having social difficulties. So, I mean, that I resonate with that as well. I really learned how to socialize by just copying people as well. And I was just like watching and observing and thinking, okay, this looks like a person that socializes well. And so I do what they do. So in that way, I appeared to be socializing well on the outside. So there was no reason for alarm. Second thing, internalized symptoms. That's what we were just talking about. We have symptoms, but they inside and we're not showing them at all. Boys managing autism may experience obvious difficulties with sitting still, aggression, and conduct. Oh yeah, boys do have that aspect as well. When they get to that age of puberty and stuff like that, their autism presents out in aggression and stuff like that, and just things that they just can't handle. I feel like mine was more reserved.
Yeah, me too. But also, I think how we are socialized is making a difference there because when the boys outwardly express it's still the boys will be boys thing, but girls, it's approached a lot differently. And so we are conditioned to internalize it. I really wonder, like, how much of the differences are biological and how much of the differences are due to how we're socialized. I think it's probably both.
Girl, you said what? You
Like,
said
like, wait, are you saying that like you need me to repeat it or like what?
no. I'm saying like, okay, that's a black thing. Girl, what you say? That means like that was a read.
Oh,
That was a read.
okay. I
Like
got you.
I'm with you. You know what I'm
I got
saying?
you.
Because basically, and let me see if I'm picking up what you're putting down. You wonder how much of it is actually the actual gender of it,
Hmm.
and how much of it actually is what society told us we supposed to be. So how much of it is we're masking because we want to be ladies? We want to look
Hmm.
like a lady and act like a lady. How much of it is that? Oh my gosh. Girl, you said that. Um next thing, it says here, this is a nice little point. Some autistic traits might be just seen as shyness. Oh, she's shy.
Hmm.
She's shy. Bless her heart. It's socially acceptable for girls to be shy. Children with autism, girls and boys, often have uniquely intense or strong interest in one thing. But, but, and get this, in girls, the thing tends to be something other girls already like. It's already something
Yeah,
other girls are
that
obsessed over.
I mean, I have a few. Like I have cats, but
Oh,
it's
here it
very
is.
obvious when I talk about cats that like I'm obsessing in like a not so normal way. But then I have hoops, and then like autism is a special interest too of
Mm-hmm.
mine, so it's spread out. But the like the extent at which I do it, even like when I was seeing the doctor about the autism, like he made a note of that I kept circling back to talking about cats. Like he was trying to make conversation with me, but I just kept circling back to that. And so like that got written down under like the social and communication about like my reciprocal conversation. There it is. I would start relating everything back to that, and it's just like
Oof. And he started writing it down. Wait a minute, what are you writing? That's what I would have
yeah.
been like. What you writing? Yeah, I used to say that to my therapist so much because she would start typing while I was talking. I'd be like, "Hold up, what you typing?" She'd be like, "None of your business." I'd be like, "Yes, it is. What you mean?" And then she would give me the notes at the end. But I would be like, "What you writing?" So females do still have the special interest, even into adulthood, but they may have a broader range of special interests, just like we were talking about than autistic males who tend to hone in on one thing. Another reason why they think adult females get diagnosed late is females tend to mask signs of autism. So the masking thing is real. Like you
Yeah.
might not even know that you are masking your autistic traits. So that is a real reason. That's a good reason why females are not
It's a
getting
huge reason.
diagnosed.
One of my friends I had to go twice because at first she was masking during her assessment and she accidentally made too much eye contact. And like literally that reason alone, he was like, you can't be autistic because you reciprocated eye contact. And
Mm-hmm.
also he was like, um, you can't so like autistic people wouldn't have the self-awareness to realize that they're autistic, which like that just sounds so stupid. That's
That
crazy.
that's crazy to say because that implies that autistic people with high support needs don't know that they're autistic. That implies
Hmm.
that they don't know, that they don't see the difference between themselves and others. That's what that's implying. And I think even at a young age, little kids can spot differences.
Yeah, it really just shows like how much the research is lacking and like, how skewed their view of autism is because like, yeah, we have social deficits, but like it's not like we're just like in la la land unaware of those deficits. Like we know them and we understand them. I've also heard some people, and this resonates for me too, saying that like if they are also ADHD, that they feel like their ADHD masks their autism a bit because of the way that like the symptoms can be like pulling you in different directions.
Yeah, absolutely. I experienced that myself with the routine. Remember when we were talking about routines and stuff? So I
Hmm.
was having such a hard time with it like a couple of months ago. I'm doing okay now, but I just did a video too about it. So I like to look at it like this. I am autistic. I also have ADHD. Autistic me, autistic Shay wants to be on routine all the time. Gets anxiety when the routine is thrown off. That's autistic Shay. ADHD Shay hates the routine. Get it out of here.
Hmm.
Routine makes me nervous too. So if I'm on routine, then this one ADHD Shay is like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like I feel like they're both fighting against each other, just like you said, fighting against each other, and I just literally cannot even get it together sometimes.
Oh my God. Sometimes it feels like having like two toddlers up in my brain, just like yelling out very conflicting things at me.
Screaming at each other. No facts.
Hmm.
It's like that movie Inside Out. When I watched that movie, I
I
was
love
like,
that movie.
all the me's up in my brain, they probably fighting over the panel just like that. Like, nah, don't touch it, girl.
Hmm.
It's my turn. That's exactly how it is. Okay. So let's go over some of the signs. We're gonna go over it real quick because I'm sweating, honey. I'm sweating. All right. Signs of autism in female adults. If you resonate with this, say okay. Social difficulties. Autistic people often have trouble reading and responding to social cues. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Sensory sensitivity, a heightened sense of smell, light, sound, or touch. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Difficulty with self regulation and executive functioning.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Intense interest. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Repetitive behaviors. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Stemming. Co-occurring conditions.
Hmm.
It says autism isn't degenerative. Degenerative. What is that? It says characterized by progressive, often irreversible deterioration.
Oh,
Okay, that makes sense. So it don't get worse and worse and worse. It don't get worse over time, but autistic people be developing other disorders after living with autism for a long time. And you said that in another podcast too. You said you said that
hmm.
had me weak. You said ultimately autism is what did you say? Oh,
It's inherently traumatizing.
yeah,
Either
inherently
way, whether
traumatizing.
you
That's what you
mask
said.
or not, whether you
Yes.
mask or not, it is.
Mm-hmm. Autistic adult females may experience anxiety, ADHD, depression, eating disorders, eating disorders. Oh my God, these S's.
Mm.
Eating disorders, OCD, sleep disorders, tic disorders. So all the stuff, and so all these things you can get misdiagnosed, or as we have seen with ADHD and anxiety and depression, you can have that and autism as well.
Yep.
Okay, they can both be up there. And
Yeah.
I mean, the people that think that you can only have one mental health issue, that's crazy. That's crazy,
Yeah.
okay? Because you can have all of them, actually. That's what I
Right.
think.
And it's similar for people who are like chronically ill with physical things. It's usually multiple things. It's like either nothing or multiple things. It's rare that you just have one condition.
Right. People get stuck on the all or nothing. You know what I'm saying? Which brings us to the next thing, rose eyes. Rose eyes. I was scrolling, minding my business on Instagram threads, minding my business. And here goes somebody talking about why all of a sudden everybody got autism.
Uh,
Sir and ma'am, whoever you are, my thoughts on this. First of all, it's not all of a sudden. It's not nothing. Nothing is all of a sudden. Actually, something is all of a sudden. And I'll tell you what's all of a sudden. What's all of a sudden is your knowledge of it, of us having autism. Okay. So had myself and Lex not come up here on social media and say, I have autism, and openly, comfortably saying we have autism, sharing that with you guys, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know. If our other autistic sisters had not come on social media and say, I'm autistic, blah, 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 you wouldn't know. So that's what's all of a sudden. What's all of a sudden is the fact that you see it now, that you know about it. It's very ignorant of this person to assume that just because they found out about something, it just started happening. That's crazy to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. You sound foolish. You sound foolish, sir, ma'am. Okay.
It's the same way people say that, like, all of a sudden everybody's gay. It's like people were just in the closet before.
Facts. Happy Pride. Happy Pride, because that's a good correlation right there. It ain't nothing all of a sudden. Okay. And I said it on my live stream on Instagram this morning too. People feel like it's a bandwagon. Like people are hopping on the bandwagon. Once they see somebody say they have autism, they're like, oh, me too. I want to be autistic too. No, that's not how it works, first of all. That's not how it works at all. It's not something that we pick. We didn't pick it. We didn't choose it. Okay. It just is.
Yeah.
And we've always been autistic. Another reason, another reason why all of a sudden you're hearing about it is because, like me and Lex, we just found out about it. What you want from us? Okay. What you want from us? We just found out too. Okay.
Yeah.
What I have to say to this is, look, people that make comments like this, you make yourself look real ignorant. Okay? And you're assuming, like I said, you're assuming just because you found out something that it's new news, that it's new, that it's actually new, and it's not. You just found out about it. What you think
Right.
about that, Lex? All of a sudden,
Um,
everybody has autism.
yeah, it's not all of a sudden. It's like 1 or 2% of people, which is as common as being a redhead. I mean, it could be more than that. Research is increasing. But to piggyback off what you said, I agree with all of that. But also, things like social media adding visibility. So, like you said, we all existed before, but now we're on social media, and then also algorithms. So if you end up on that side of these social media platforms, that's going to push you more. It's not like everybody on these platforms is posting it. It's just what you're seeing. Before, people were masking, and so we were always there, but you just thought we were weird, and insert a bunch of other slurs here and insults here. Like, people were just written off as other things. And then now, with like the expansion of the DSM, like how I mentioned in your live that it used to not even be possible to be diagnosed with like ADHD and autism in the past. Now you can be, because research is showing that it is possible to have these comorbidities, whatever. So,
That's
just
a big word
ultimately
for Elmo.
yeah.
Big word for Elmo.
Ultimately, the research is expanding. BIPOC individuals used to be excluded. Females used to be excluded. It was just studies on like little white boy children. So we were always here. We were labeled as other things. And now we have the correct language to describe it. And for some reason, people feel triggered by that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I think a lot of the mindset is like that doctors. Like I'm saying, you don't have clear, visible high support needs. So you can't be. So you can't be. And that's just not how it is. I don't want high support needs, okay? I don't want it. I don't think anybody
Right.
actually wants it. So why would I fake it so you can believe that I'm autistic? No. Okay. And another thing, I don't care if you believe it or not. I don't care. I
Yeah.
don't care who believes it. Not even gonna lie, Lex. I didn't care if you believe me or not, even though we're very close friends. I did,
Right.
because the important thing is that I believe it, and my doctors
Yeah.
confirmed it. That's the important thing. So, use these videos when y'all see them. Stop. I hope that everybody stop judging these women, because it's making us want to go back and stop talking
Yeah.
about it. And we need to keep talking about it so we can help other people. Okay. So if you say during any of this stuff that we were saying as well, I don't see nothing wrong with you talking to your doctor about it and get yourself tested. It's not going to harm you. It's not going to harm you. And it either is or it isn't. That's it. And that's all. Somebody else said that if you live with it for so long, just living not knowing about autism, why would you even, if it's even worth it? Like, I've been living this long without, why would I even go and get tested and have that label put upon me for whatever reason? It's not just for the label. Okay, I'm going to tell you how I felt before I got diagnosed with autism. This is what I thought about myself. Okay, I thought I was weird. I thought I was slow. I thought I was stupid. I thought I was all, insert all the other words. And when I got my diagnosis, all those things started to make sense. You're not weird. You're different. And you're different because you have autism. So now I'm very much more accepting of myself. Having an autism diagnosis is not going to make your life worse. If anything, it's going to improve it. And if you're an adult, like you probably are, if you're watching this, if you're an adult, it's going to set you up for success. It's going to set you up for evolving. That's important. It's going to set you up for self-love, self-care, everything. Okay, it's going to set you up to take care of yourself more appropriately, because you can't just go about it like you've been doing it. Like, okay, now you got to change some stuff that you do. Like, for example, something very small that I've been changing is the lights around my house, because now I'm living in my autistic truth, and I know that I have a sensitivity to these big lights. So the big lights do not come on unless it is an emergency. And I have less migraines because of it. I have less meltdowns because of it. So it's going to help you take care of yourself a little bit better. And it's going to help your friends take care of you a little bit better. It's going to open up a lot of doors for you. So I don't think if you are afraid of doing it because of those reasons, do not be afraid, because it's going to help you. I guarantee you. And it's not for nothing. People feel like, oh, you've been living your life this long, getting a diagnosis at this point is pointless. No, it's not. No, it's not. Look at me. Look at Lex. We're thriving now. I can honestly say, and I will ask you this question too. Do you think if you had never got diagnosed, you would be improving? Like right now, I feel like I'm at a point in my life where I'm very self-aware. I'm getting better with communication. I'm getting better saying my boundaries. A lot of stuff is just coming together for me, and I'm maturing. That's the word I was looking for earlier. Maturity. I'm maturing a lot smoother now that I know. I'm maturing a lot smoother now that I know. Do you feel that way? If you never got diagnosed, do you think you would still progress in this way?
Absolutely not. Because I mean, like I had said, I was still like trying to get sober. Well, I was sober, but like it wasn't looking the way that I was seeing recovery look for other people. And so I was feeling broken, and who knows if I would have been able to stay sober. And like I made a post on this on my Instagram page about how, finding out that I'm autistic became the foundation in my sobriety, because like I never really had a thing that like pushed me to stick it out, but like I ultimately realized like the disservice that I was doing myself, because ultimately I was running from my autism, like with the substances. I was using it to mask, using it to suppress my sensory needs, using it to overextend myself socially, things like that. And it was unsustainable and such a disservice to myself. And so like getting diagnosed it just gave me a purpose. And now I have been able to learn to live life as my unmasked self, and learn to meet people that I'm compatible with, and approach myself and unlearn that internalized ableism. And, I'd probably still be trying to achieve a future that was out of reach for me, not because I'm broken, but because my brain's wired differently. And now I'm living my truth.
Absolutely. Well said, Lex. I hope this podcast episode has helped somebody. Please share this with a friend. We really appreciate y'all coming. Thanks for coming, Lex. I appreciate you. Okay.
Oh, I appreciate you too.
And make sure you watch the next video coming up. I think it's going to be over here. I'm going to say over here. Watch the next video. Bye.
Bye.
Stop recording, Shay.